अब जनाब तशरीफ लाते हैं मुख्तलिफ मकाम खतीब अहले सुन्नत फाज़िल अजल अल्लामा साहिबजादा पीर अहसन शाह साहिब मदद आली और खिताबी आली शाह फरमाते हैं। दूसरी पढ़ने
والهادي لعباده إلى سبيل الرشاد الوافق لهم في كل شأن إلى سلوك نهج السداد وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له شهادة من أخذها بيقين فهو في ازدياد وأشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد السادة الأمجاد اللهم بارك وصل وسلم عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم البعث والمعاد. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد القولين وثقلين والفريقين من عرس ومن عجب فاق النبيين في خلق وفي خلق ولم ينالوه في علم ولا كرم وكلهم من رسول الله ملتمس غرفا من البحر أو رشفا من الديم ثم الرداء عن أبي بكر وعن عمر وعن علي وعن عثمان الكرم يا رب صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. All praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, the master, the sustainer of the universe, and make countless salutations and incalculable salawat be upon the master of the creation, the leader of all prophets, our master Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And thereafter, my dearest listeners, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran that indeed in the creation of this universe and in the changing of the days and nights is a sign for the people of intellect. And those people of intellect, they are in constant remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, standing, sitting, turning on their sides, yani in all situations and circumstances, they are in constant remembrance of their creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when these people ponder over the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creation of the skies and the earth and everything within it, they reach a conclusion. And that conclusion is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create anything in vain. Every single thing that is created in this dunya has a purpose, and the purpose of a human being is to be in service of his creator, to worship his creator. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a very limited time in this dunya, which we have to make the best use out of. And in this time we have to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the first and foremost duty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned in many different places throughout the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the duty of mankind to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be aware of the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator. And then immediately after mentioning the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the creator, as the Khaliq, Malik, Raziq, from amongst the rights of the people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the very first right and duty of a human being is to be dutiful to his parents. Amongst other duties and other rights, we have our neighbors have rights, our children have rights, our family members have rights. So these are the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has rights over us. We have to be dutiful to them. But the most important and the foremost duty from amongst the rights of the people that a person has, that he must be dutiful to his parents. And this duty is not bound by any limitations. This does not mean that if the parent of an individual are virtuous, righteous, that a person must obey everything that they say. But this duty is not bound by any such limitation. Whether they are righteous, whether they are not righteous, whether they pray, whether they do not pray. The duty of an individual to be in the service of his parents is not bound by these limitations. And if ulama have said that they stop you from nawafil, you need to stop from nawafil and be in the service of the parents. And then of course we cannot obey them if they stop us from the fara'id or the wajibat. We must not be we must not obey them in these situations, but otherwise in all circumstances it is our duty to be in service of them and to be obedient to them. And now we must understand that whereas our parents have duties, our parents have rights, the children have also rights. The parents must fulfill. They must not differentiate between the children. They must treat them all equally. They must not be, preferring or give more to one and neglect other. For example, these are a few examples that we can think of, we can, give at this moment. So both sides have duties and rights that each side must fulfill and take care of. And similarly, we have other duties that we have to fulfill in regards to other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only that, we have certain duties that we have to fulfill for ourselves as well. We need to have some time for self-development, self-improvement, self-reflection, so that we can assess ourselves as well on in what situation are we in, what is our state, what is our condition, and how are we living our lives. The temporary life that we have at the moment today, we are alive in this dunya, how are we making use of this time? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, we seek investment advice. If someone gives us very beneficial investment advice that has benefited us a lot, we remember him anywhere, we do dua for him as well probably, and we thank him. You gave me such a valuable advice and I'm profiting from it, and it was a very fruitful investment. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that when a person dies from this dunya, he passes away, all of his personal deeds cease to exist. Because he cannot perform those actions of any action of righteousness, of goodness, they stop. But there are three things that continue to benefit him even after his death. And one of those things is if that individual in his lifetime engaged in actions of continuous sadaqah jariyah. If from anything that is continuing to benefit the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that person will continue to get the reward, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will elevate his ranks even after he's passed away. And another thing that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned was knowledge that he left behind. He contributed in the spread of knowledge. He taught anyone else, or he perhaps published a book, and that cycle is continuing and people are learning, benefiting from that knowledge. As long as that cycle of learning and spreading of knowledge continues, that person, his ranks will be elevated, as long as that cycle continues. And the third and very most important thing is that if a person leaves behind a righteous offspring, that they continue to do dua for that individual, and as long as they continue in this cycle, they pray for the forgiveness of their grandparents, parents, and their ancestors. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to raise their ranks as long as they continue in this cycle. So we give investment advice to one another, and those investments cease to benefit as soon as we pass away. They do not benefit us in any way or form, any way or shape or form. If we make these three investments in this dunya, not only will they benefit us in this dunya, they will also benefit us in the akhirah as well. And as soon as these things continue, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to raise our ranks. My dear listeners, we must try to live our life in honesty. We must try. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as we all know, he was known as Sadiq and Amin, the truthful and the trustworthy, even before he announced his prophethood or called people towards Islam. And we know that it is because of this very same truthfulness and sincerity of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and trustworthiness of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Sayyidatuna Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, when she entrusted him, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, with the responsibilities of her trade, and Sayyidatuna Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, you know, the resultant profit that she gained from the trustworthiness of Rasulullah, the honest dealings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she sent a marriage proposal to Rasulullah, to which he accepted and married Sayyidatuna Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And even we know that when Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated from Makkah al-Mukarramah to Madinah al-Munawwara, Sayyidina Ali karamallahu ta'ala was ordered to stay behind only for one purpose, and that was to return the belongings or to the rightful owners. This was the trustworthiness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That he knew that those people, they had entrusted their belongings to him. They were at his doorstep, trying to take his life, hungry for his life. But even those people knew that despite their enmity towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, despite their hatred towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah will never be untrustworthy. He will never betray their trust. And we see that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered Sayyidina Ali karamallahu ta'ala to stay behind only for this purpose, only for this reason, so that he could return the belongings that were in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam safekeeping, to return them to the rightful owners. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us all the tawfiq to live our life in sincerity, in truthfulness. You know, we must assess ourselves, question ourselves, whether in situations where we are in such a situation where we can take an advantage of an individual, because he's a very straightforward man, and we can take an advantage of him. Will we control this urge to take advantage of that individual, or will we stay behind and not, you know, take advantage of that individual because of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And if someone else is being blamed for something that we did, I did myself, I made a mistake, but because of whatever reasons the truth was concealed and someone else is being blamed for it, will I stay behind and say, you know, I don't have anything to do with it, he is, you know, dealing with it, so it's not my concern? Will I stay quiet in this situation? These are the test for our honesty and what will we do in this situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to lead an honest life. And please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and also be in service of our parents and dutiful to them no matter what the situation. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.